broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, AfterBuzzers, and welcome to the after show for ABC's Blood and Oil. Tonight's episode, Rats, Bugs, and Moles. I'm your host, Grant Rutter, and the panel is here to discuss all the dirty details of the episode.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back, guys. Good to see you all.
It's so good to be back and getting that major drama. I'm Lauren Salaun, and you guys can find me on Twitter at Lauren Salaun.
Yay. Hey, everybody. I'm Howard III. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Howard III. That's Howard 3RD.
And you guys can check me out over on Twitter at Grants__rants. So we have, haven't been here for a minute. The show, of course, as you know, it was off for a second. So, we got caught up and reacclimated to where we are. Gary's still alive at the top of this episode. I'm like, good lord, so we're still going. And it seems to me, of course, it's common knowledge that this show had its episode count cut down. So a lot of things have been amped up. Lauren, at the end of the episode, you mentioned that they really made it soapy, huh?
Yeah, it's super soapy. And I mean, that's to be expected because, like you just said, they had to shrink it down from what they thought they were going to have. 13 episodes was the original thing. So they're shaving it down, from 13 to 10. So they're cramming a lot of drama into the last bit because that change came mid-season for them, Yeah. So they're thinking they could stretch a lot out a little bit more, but no. So it is getting really dramatic. And unfortunately, I feel like some of these dramatic points are predictable. You're like, please, for me at least, I'm like, please don't have Jules be passed out at the end, like doing this whole like suicide thing. Come on. This is like too ridiculous. And then of course she is, Yeah. So it's stuff like that that's a little like,
Yeah. I wanted to see this drama the whole time. I think if the show is going to commit to being a nighttime soap opera, it needs to commit to playing those beats and coming up with twists and moving at a quick pace, where the pilot of the show was rough, and it's almost like we're looking at a different show at this point. I don't know. That's my opinion. What do you think, Howard?
Yeah, I feel the same way. It's kind of like from the first episode to now, I thought it was getting like a little bit better. Like there was a point in there where the writing was just on point. Loved it.
Yes.
But now, I think it's just because they're trying to speed everything up, where this episode, it was a little bit iffy to me. I loved it, and then there were some parts, like Lauren said at the end, where it's like, come on, Jules, do you really have to be passed out? Like, okay, all right, I kind of saw it coming, but all right.
Did anyone not see that coming? Was anyone surprised by that? I think we all saw when she saw I thought she was just going to, just drink herself to death anyway, and then when they introduced the pills, I'm like, okay, now I can connect the dots.
Yeah. Well, I think she's a stronger character than that, and we can get to it when we get to it, but I don't think that was in line with how we've seen her character, how tough her character has been, and sure of herself this whole time. Yeah,
and I loved her as an actress. If she is done with the series, she was a fantastic actress on the show. I thought she delivered some good scenes. You don't think so?
Really?
I don't think she was bad. She wasn't terrible. I was like, she wasn't really believable to me.
Really? So I found her to be one of the stronger ones myself.
I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah. No, it's cool. We can totally disagree. I'm okay.
Hey, yeah.
I think it makes for an interesting chat. So,
we don't have to agree.
I just thought she was just kind of. She wasn't believable to me. Like, in all her little scenes, it just felt like, pretty girl saying lines. Like, I don't know.
Maybe I was just fascinated by the accent. Maybe that's just what me. Who knows?
I like her. I thought she did a good job.
Yeah, I enjoyed her. I enjoyed her performance. But let's talk about some of the plot lines that were played out in tonight's episode. Really quickly at the top, we saw that Annie got an email or a text message that the Carmichael property that they were looking at and invested in is basically dry, according to the USGS report. Right. So Annie's quickly, the credits are still on this screen, and she's like, yeah, no, turn around, going back like we're not done. So that's kind of, of course, that's Billy once again with, having to find a new place to drill and a new game plan once again.
Right. I'm so curious how that's gonna work out, because we know it can't be dry.
Yeah.
Right.
And then is it like, okay, well, is the report they're looking at the wrong one that's actually out there that they're getting that info from? Because remember, Hap made up a fake one, right? To give to AJ, to give to his people.
You're right.
So just,
Yeah, which one
what's
is it?
the truth, you guys?
Right. I hope that they clarify that. Like, they need to, if they put that out there, they need to wrap that up.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk, let's talk briefly about the meeting that Hap wants to have with all of the folks, the executive ranks to come. And, then all these, of course, they're looking for a mole now.
Right.
And we saw all these big, guys come in
Which is
suits.
very smart. Yeah. Call everyone in and do something. Either I thought he was gonna just bring in a few select people, not necessarily the whole team, and tell each of them something different, sort of thing, and see which one kind of makes it back or which one kind of sticks, because then oh, I told that secret to Wick, and that's the secret that ended up coming out, and the feds now have, so there it was him, sort of thing.
See, I expected a lie detector test scene.
Right.
I thought that would make for good TV. We could see how we could see Wick kind of sweat it out, and I thought it would make kind of a better scene than just kind of like the old TSA, going over with the wand. I was like, what's that going to prove? Because what if they don't show up to that meeting with a wire? But if they come to, what if they come to the party?
I wasn't expecting that at all, the whole wand thing. I think I was expecting more of what Lauren said was I'm going to tell 5 people this, another 5 people this, another 5 people this. And if it comes back from that group, then we know who the mole
you start
is.
narrowing it down.
So sorry.
Oh, no, I cut you off.
So I wasn't expecting all that. But then I was kind of thinking, I can't believe he's able to keep people in the house like that, against their will. I don't know. I didn't like that.
And no one really had a reaction to that either.
Yeah, everybody was just, regular day.
You know, there's someone over there who's like, oh hell no, I'm not doing this. Someone's not gonna play
These guys,
ball.
I'm sure, are making pretty good salaries working at the executive level at Briggs. So they're whatever, it's not me, so fine.
True. I just know that I wouldn't want to be called into someone's, office or home and be accused of something I'm not doing. Especially if I'm a loyal employee, that's an insult to me. You know what I mean? I'm like, look, I helped you make billions.
Exactly.
I wouldn't necessarily be pissed at Hap. I'd be pissed at whoever was trying to screw us all over.
I get
I'd
that.
be pissed at my coworkers, being like, okay, really? Come on, who's being a dick in here,
Well, ultimately, it was unsuccessful, except for the fact that AJ found the crush bug or the transmitter device, which was very convenient that he happened to find that. But, that's just kind of the flow of the show.
Right, but that is a smart conclusion to make, given that Wick was the one who causes a scene. So obviously we know he's feeling antsy and anxious about the situation anyway, but then that kind of commotion does allow him to quickly toss it or ditch it somehow. I thought he was going to plant it on someone else, like Carla, or not Carla, Lacey, because she was right in front of him, or the lady behind him.
See, I thought that from a production standpoint, there were just too many extras there. So for someone not to see something go flying or be moved, and not only that, I just feel like it was just too much. There was just too many people for it to be that convenient.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody else could have played. It's not like there were 3 people in 3 corners of the room and Wick was in the corner with the plant.
Right.
Anybody could have along the way kind of, hit it.
And AJ could have been like, okay, it was a bodyguard, because they were right next to Wick walking him out. He could have made just that same conclusion, essentially.
Yeah.
But also, if you think about it, if you're holding that little thing in your hand and you're making a scene and everyone's watching you, I'm sorry, it's not going to be that smooth to just toss it. Someone would see that. I'm sorry. Just imagine yourself holding a little thing and be like, rah, 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 rah.
It's a
Blanchard,
black.
that's not.
Yeah, it's a black piece in two pieces at this point.
Like, I feel like you wouldn't be that smooth with ditching that thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I thought he personally put it on the bodyguard. Like when the bodyguard came over,
Right.
For some reason, I just thought he would have put it in his pocket, or a little something like that.
Sleight of hand.
Well, Annie comes to her son's defense and, privately, and she wants Wick to go and work with her. And I was kind of like, Wick, go, do take it. But of course, he's stuck in the middle of this investigation, and they've got him, kind of by the throat, so he has immunity. But I mean, I just feel like, God, he should just like run at this point, especially if he knows that his father's being investigated. It's like a kind of like a losing situation. He could be found out. Like, go get a safe place at this point.
Right, because I'm sorry, the Fed, yes, he's making a deal with the Fed, so he can likely throw everyone under the bus and get out of the situation just fine. But they're going to want to take down as many people as they can in this situation. So even though they've promised him immunity, like, I don't think they're going to care about Lacey or anyone else involved. So I feel like it's just going to get messy.
He made a really bad deal, like you're saying. Like that guy can take just basically everybody,
right?
And then Wick's just like, I'm sorry.
He's got that what is it when you help someone murder someone else, so you're involved in it? Accomplice? I don't know.
Yeah. Mastermind.
I found Wick to be very slimy in this episode because it's not his daughter, his sister. Lacey was just kind of like, what are we going to do? This is our family. Like, and he's like, I know it's our family and like we're in it together. But the whole time he's playing everybody. So, I mean, that kind of goes back to like episode 1, episode 2 Wick that we were introduced to, like kind of the shifty one. And then he had this redemption period. But now I'm kind of like, whoa, so now he really doesn't even give a damn about his sister?
Yeah.
Like he's going to let her just roll with it, huh?
He's mad. I mean, I guess that's what happens when you're out for revenge. He's just mad and he doesn't care who gets in his way. He's going to take you out.
Yeah, well, Annie talked about the revenge plot of Hap Briggs or something like that. Yeah. Annie's been giving us a lot of backstory, and I know we mentioned at the beginning of this panel that we wanted to know more of the backstory of these characters. So I like having Annie around. What do you think?
I love Annie. I mean, I love that actress, and I think she does such a great job playing Annie and has such great like one-liners, and she's gorgeous and she looks amazing. Like, I just love her. Every time she's in a scene, I'm like, oh yeah, what's she gonna do in this scene?
She does look good. Yes. So, and someone else that looks good on the show, Carla, she was hanging out with the commissioner, not really, but they were having this meeting, and I love how she like pushes this guy around because this commissioner looks like a dope. He just looks so stupid to me. But she says that basically the commissioner communicated to her they want to pin it on a Briggs no matter what, and so the wheels are turning, and I'm thinking that she's gunning for Wick the whole time.
Me too.
It's the easy way out. I mean, she kind of planted the seed of doubt with Hap early on that maybe he's not as loyal, so I don't know. Right. It was a shock.
Yeah, but Lacey's been such a little brat to her all the time, so she's probably like, let's just get this chick out of my hair. She is annoying as crap, so see ya.
That's true. There's no love lost, no loyalty between those two. So
yeah, I thought she was going to put it on Wick too. I mean, I've been saying Carla's getting ready to take over this company, and I was pretty sure. Right. I was pretty sure she was just going to be like, Wick is going to take it. Yeah. I'm going to become the boss. I'm going to be CEO. And I'm like, do it, Carla.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, because we see Carla, and she even says, protecting Briggs Oil is like her top priority, and she will do whatever it takes, including throw someone under the bus for it. And when looking at Lacey versus Wick, Lacey is the one who will be more beneficial to the company in terms of like her smarts and just all of that we've seen so far, whereas Wick is such a screw up most of the time, and she already assumes he's the mole and the one that was at the fire and all that. So I would think that Carla would rise above the pettiness with the whole Lacey thing and see that Wick is the smarter business decision to ditch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised in her decision. Jules and Wick had a couple scenes. Well, one scene really where, I feel like again because of the episode order being cut, we just missed a lot of beats between them. Like it was like I think they had like maybe 3, maybe 4 like lines of dialogue between them both, and then it was like down to business. Like it's like all right, now it's time for you to. And it was Wick pitched to Jules a revenge plot basically.
Yes.
So he could swap out the phones because there's an exact replica. Let's talk about this.
Okay, I'm sorry, but the only way they would get an exact replica of Hap's phone is if they had Hap's phone at some point, which if you had his phone, why wouldn't you just bug it then?
Right.
Like, why would you make an exact replica of it that is also bugged? What's the point of that?
I'm trying to think.
No, it's way too convenient.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of this as possible, like, because of course, you're dealing with the FBI, but then you're probably, dealing with an iTunes account. Like, I'm trying to think of, like,
right.
But, like, I have, like, drafts on my phone of stuff that wouldn't necessarily translate, like, a note.
Exactly. I don't
like
have everything synced. It's not a mirror image, my phone to my iTunes or my iPhoto,
Yeah. So that's just, to me, it's just too much to be able to
Yeah.
have. And then, like, the audio is, like, crystal clear, and it's, like, in his, like, pocket inside his jacket, like, at a party with music. It's like, all right.
Right.
Just crazy. Too much.
And also with that, if you're bugging the phone, I would assume it would be specifically to intercept phone calls. Like, that's the whole point why you bug the phone, is so that you get the transmitted phone calls and you're hearing that. Not there's actually a bug just stuck to the phone where it picks up the noise when it's not being used.
Maybe they're just draining Hap's data plan.
Yeah. So it seems like there was a much easier way to do that. Either you get the phone to make a replica of it and you just bug the phone instead of making a copy, or you put a little bug on him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It would be so much easier.
You know what drove me crazy was the scene where they were going through the motions of how they were going to switch the phone, and they cut between reality and then what they planned to do, and it was just like a very quick. It was like a quick way to get to from A to B. Like I get it, but it was just like too rushed. I don't know.
It was too rushed, and they hadn't done something like that before. So you're wondering, wait, are they meaning that this is actually happening right now, or it has happened, or are they showing us scenes from before, like flashbacks almost that she's like connecting to how she's going to do this? So I don't think it was the best mechanism to use for that. Obviously it made sense. Like, it's not like I was confused the entire time watching it. It made sense and it worked well, like you said, to quickly get that in there, but I don't think it was the smoothest way to do that.
I don't think we need to see all those steps. I think we could have just summarized it really quickly. Have him come over, do whatever you have to do to distract him, and switch the phones. Done.
Exactly. I mean, I wasn't really feeling it at all, to tell you the truth. But I mean, I guess it did have to kind of speed us up, since they are one episode away or whatever from season finale. But I was like, okay, is she doing this while they're talking, or is she doing that? Did she do this earlier today and this is the flashback, or how was this working out? But whatever.
The only thing I can say to defend it is that was the only moment in the episode where there was any type of romance or like sex shown, and of course I know that they really try to play that up on the show as the episodes progress, so maybe that's why they try to keep it in, just to keep some type of like steamy sex. But again, if this is supposed to be like a soap opera, I know that needs to be like woven in. It can't be all this dialogue. So I just, that's where I struggle with kind of the overall vision of the show, which now has changed quite a bit. So it just keeps kind of going back to that. What are we trying to get here? What is the show? What is Blood and Oil? What is
it just seems like so much oil, no blood in
Yeah.
Let's talk about the scenes with Jules, and then she admits that she loves Wick, and then Wick basically calls her the whore of Rock Springs, and is done.
Okay, so this whole thing, when Wick went over there, it wasn't like, I love you so much, let's get back at my dad and then let's be together sort of thing. It was like, hey, my dad screwed you and me at the same time, literally, figuratively, whatever, and let's get him back sort of thing. Are you in? And she's like, yeah, I'm in. It seemed very like business transaction. Obviously there's a lot of emotional baggage behind that, but I wasn't confused as a viewer from that. And afterwards she's like, oh, I miss doing things with you. And I'm like, That's so weird to say in relation to what you guys just did, like screwing over his dad after you were cheating on him with his dad, like doing something together. That's just weird. Don't say this was a special moment between you guys and how you miss him and then you're in love with him. Come on. And she was so heartbroken over what he said. I think he was definitely harsh and a jerk, but I feel like her expectations were kind of ridiculous there.
Yeah, I mean, he used the word revenge. He was the one who kind of like amped her up, got her fired up, like talked about the affair and how, he's on to somebody else and all that stuff. So it's like, she fired her up to be able just to do what he needs to do. Anything like that.
And maybe Jules is one of those girls that always needs to have some sort of relationship going on. So the thing with Hap is done and she's like, oh, well, now like let me cling to anything that might still be there with Wick because I broke his heart. So let's try and scrape that back together, sort of thing.
I think you're right. She could be.
I mean,
one of those girls.
I just thought, I thought that scene was actually the powerful scene, like through the whole show. Like I really, for some reason, I just enjoyed it.
Hurt. You're like, oh,
oof. And to me, that just showed like Wick's acting ability. I don't know why. I like immediately just loved him even more. Because he was such a jerk, but it was so believable. Like I was hurt for Jules. Like I felt like me and Jules were in the same room crying together. Yeah. It was that touching.
Gut punch for sure.
Exactly. I mean, she's a little delusional, thinking that he would come running back, but I loved it.
Well, he later said that he loved her, and I'm surprised that I'm not surprised, but it'd be. In real life, perhaps it'd be easier to fall back into old habits and be like, okay, like I still have feelings for you. They're not dead. But no, he just called her a whore and walked out.
Well, I don't know. Shoot, if that happened if I were Wick and that was the situation and that had happened to me, even if I had loved her and been in love with her and even still in love with her, I would not be like, oh yeah, maybe let's talk later. I probably would have been a jerk and called her some mean names like he did.
Right. I mean, but we all have seen people we know of people that go back to relationships where it was like it ended badly. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And these are all very damaged people. So, but again, time is ticking. They've only got 2 episodes left, so
I know.
So much for that. Let's switch gears over to Gary in the hospital bed. And how he's still there and Billy is flipping out because he's like, oh my god, he's gonna wake up, he's gonna tell. And then the sheriff's just hanging out at the hospital the whole day. I mean, just all day, every day, just walking behind everybody. Now Billy had a moment where he was ready to pull the plug, if you will, a very soap trope. And I had a problem with this scene overall with the acting choices because I feel like Billy probably hasn't pulled the plug on anyone in his life.
No.
When you're when you're ready to do it and you've committed like he had, wouldn't you jump out of your skin if someone interrupted you if you were doing something shady like that?
Oh, yeah.
And he was just like combing his hair, like, oh hey, like I mean, I would have been like guilt all over me, like
I've been a little bit more nervous.
The way I am naturally, it's like if I'm caught, like I'm caught. Like I remember going to like the movies once, and I went with my cousin, and we walked into a PG-13 movie, and of course like it was stupid, and everybody had to go in with like those flashlights to pull us out, and I was just like, yeah, you got us. My cousin was like trying to go with it, and I'm just like, once you catch me, like it's, I mean. I'm not going to insult your intelligence. You're right. So to me, I thought it was kind of an odd choice.
I don't think like the plug would be that convenient to just like have your hand slightly leaned over and be like, oh hey, I don't know. Ooh, I'm knocking things over, but I think that's out of line for his character. Because he wasn't doing it for revenge, he was doing it to cover his own butt, which I was confused by because they're like, we put him there. You were chasing him and he fell and you didn't call for help. I think you are responsible in some way, but if he dies, that's not murder on you or manslaughter, I don't think. It's like negligence in some way, but it's not like they pushed him.
Yeah, and
so I was confused why they were so concerned about it being pinned on them, I'm like, no, he fell down a cliff and got impaled by a stick.
Yeah,
Tough
I mean,
deal.
it's Gary's word against the others. I mean, there's no third party, person who watched. Yeah, I mean, and then to your point, and you're absolutely right. He only did it to protect himself. He didn't do it in a revenge way to be able to make up for his wife's miscarriage.
Right. I mean, I'm sure that fueled some of it, but it was more the concern for covering it up.
But it wasn't until he was caught with the sheriff that he said, had he be the person that put Gary in that position, he would have finished it. But so that's where I'm connecting the dots with that, because I'm like, okay, maybe that was his motivation for going in and trying to turn it off, but yet he didn't do it, and he was never responsible for taking Gary's life. So I believe that it really was more based in his own selfishness.
Yeah, I think he just did it because he lost his child, so his emotions are high. I really didn't think he was going to pull the plug to begin with, because I'm just like, Billy, stop it.
Because that crosses a line that Billy's character can't cross, because he's still like this, like, innocent to a certain extent, good guy, nice, still like very green and figuring the ropes out, and we like him and Cody and all that,
See, he should have went in dressed as a nurse, and then he could have put on the gloves, and then that's what. Come on,
that was the other thing. The fingerprints. You're like, what is he just gonna slap his dirty hands on that thing?
Exactly. You gotta hide your fingerprints. Go in a disguise. Do it right, or don't do it at all.
I mean, I guess, but can we do a little side note about the sheriff? Why was he so creepy this whole episode?
I know.
He just popped in at the right moment. I know.
What are you doing in here?
At the right moment, he's like, oh, you know what? Just pop in. Oh, he was talking about you when you woke up.
Yeah.
Sheriff, don't you have an office?
Let me close the door real quick.
That sheriff's doing an awful lot of work and not a lot of case solving.
Seriously?
I mean, what is he accomplishing? He still hasn't outed Wick for, to have to tell him that it was his son.
I'm saying.
We still haven't even covered that.
And wouldn't
yet.
he be more concerned about the fact that Gary beat the crap out of Cody? It seemed like he was way more concerned about Gary than Cody.
Right. And let's not forget that Gary's linked to the siphoning and sale of, so it's like this guy's like wanted.
Yeah.
So
the sheriff is too much, and then he just comes in regular clothes. I'm like, Sheriff, I'm done with you. Like, I just can't.
Well, before we get to the anniversary party, let's do some quick cheers and jeers.
Ooh, yes, let's.
The highs and lows, little things that caught our attention in this episode that we enjoyed and just were not feeling. So I'll go first with my cheers. My cheers go to Annie and Carla's gowns at the party. I thought they both looked good, and Annie's gown was really, really, it was what I expected, like to the floor sequins, looked good. I have to say, like, that actress always is very well presented, and the way she carried herself, and I could spot her through all the scenes, like, larger than life, really nice to see. And my jeers go to... what is it here? Cody's overalls in one of those last scenes. I took it completely off guard. She was like, I'm out. I can't handle this. Like,
overalls are kind of in right now, though, which I don't know if I agree with.
No, I just was not into that look at all. And I'm also giving her a dishonorable mention for just how she had I feel like she didn't need to leave. Like, I feel like she needs to work with him at least for a night. Like, these two have to talk.
Right.
Like, all this action is no good.
They're always avoiding each other and doing their own thing. And
so Cody, you're my jeers. Sorry. Not sorry.
All right, my turn. My cheers go to Carla and, I love Annie. So this whole episode, I'm all about Annie.
Yes.
But Carla and Annie had two lines. Well, each had a line in here that they're kind of cheesy, but they were super fun in that soap opera way. So Annie in the very beginning says, the problem with you, Harlan, is you always underestimate your wives, and I've already eaten dinner. Which I think was good, not only speaking to her, but speaking to Carla's character, because I think he underestimates her as well, but obviously later we see that bites her in the butt a bit. And then Carla says, sometimes to win, a queen has to sacrifice a pawn, about throwing a Briggs under the bus, which was great because you're like, ooh, something juicy is coming up, but also a bit foreshadowing that it could all just crumble underneath her, which is what we saw So I liked those lines.
What about the line when she was saying like, "Oh, I built this house, I built this business with my own 2 feet, and you built
not
it
on my knees."
I like some shade.
I was I was Hap's wife when he married for love.
Yes,
all that.
That's a good line.
That was a good one. And then even later, Carla is talking to the commissioner, and she's like, "Stop acting like a little bitch."
He was
Whoa,
though.
Carla, girl.
Don't cross her. She's in it. She means
Yeah.
it.
She's about her business.
Seriously. And my jeer is the whole phone replica baloney that we already talked about. If you get one, you can't make a copy of the phone without actually having the phone. If you have the phone, just bug the phone. Don't make a copy of it.
Right.
There we go.
You expect someone to make a replica of you with all the apps.
Yeah,
and,
no.
Your recent calls, email, drafts,
Like, if you give me a replica of my phone, I'm going to know that it's missing the 2 little chips on my screen protector right here, Like,
I know, and you'll especially notice if there's a bug attached to it. The way we look at our phones, you're right. Yes.
So that was a little annoying. Anyway, you're up.
Okay, so my cheers, my cheers would be Wick getting his revenge on Jules. I just loved it. Like I said, that scene was just so powerful. It was so believable. I loved how he was just like, you're the whore. You know what I mean? Like, just, I don't want you. Like, this is revenge.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that. And my gears would have to be Cody going to the hospital, like in her dress before the party. I was kind of like, I know you need closure, but I don't really need you to be at the hospital. Like, I didn't really understand that connection when I just been here. I need questions. I need answers.
Well, and I agree with you on that too, because I'm sorry, but from Cody's perspective, yes, I would want to know what's going on. And yes, Billy has been not being completely honest with her and hiding things. So I would want to try and get to the bottom of that. But for that situation, I wouldn't be like, oh, you were chasing the guy who just beat the crap out of me and made me lose our baby. I am mad at you.
And I'm leaving.
I'd be like, thanks, babe.
Yeah.
Like, bummer he didn't die from it.
I know.
And she just, so I was a little annoyed by that too. I'm like, girl, just go to the party. I get losing a baby and all that going on is a big deal. And so it's not making light of that. But like, please, why is she putting it out on Billy?
Yeah. She didn't need to do all of that. I'm just like, go to the hospital, cuss him out and go to the party. Yeah. Like, why are you doing all of this?
Why is she feeling sympathetic toward Gary?
I didn't like that she was angry with Billy for any of that and left at the end of the episode because he didn't do it. He didn't do that for himself. He went after Gary for her.
Yeah.
So I mean, what do you want? What do you expect him to do? He just lost a child. That's his wife. Like, I would have a problem if he was like sitting around doing nothing.
Felicia in chat just said pretty much everything Cody does annoys me. She could be drinking a glass of water and she would annoy me. I pretty much agree with that because girl, I used to think she was so sweet and like spunky and she would have good ideas about the business stuff and she seemed like the more like business savvy one, even though Billy was always doing stuff. But goodness, she's just annoying.
She just annoyed me in this episode. I didn't like hate her, but
I've just been waiting for them to somehow work her character into the canvas somewhere, give her, her place. And we saw with Kes and Ada, but I mean, to me, she's just kind of sticking out like a sore thumb.
She's kind of used to connect like the more peripheral characters, like going to see Jules, and that's how we find out Jules is in her situation, and then like all these other things going on. But yeah, I don't know.
Well, rip Gary.
Right? Finally. I was like, please, I hope this isn't some trick on the sheriff's part being like, oh, he just died. And then they like start saying all this stuff about him. And then it's like,
please.
Just kidding. He's still alive. You're arrested. I didn't think that was actually going to happen. But I was like, are we actually going to, like, is this for sure he's dead? Because we've thought he was dead like 17 other times. Finally, finally, he's dead.
I didn't want him to die. I just wanted him to just move away, like somehow actually get away and stay away, and just send letters from time to time.
Him to die.
So let's change over to the anniversary party, and we'll talk about what shook down at that party. Carla says that the mole is there, that they need to to wash themselves and whatever. The cell phone is tossed around. It's then brought into the other room. Carla talks to Hap at the party, and she's down to throw one of the kids into the bus. She's like, we can't save everyone, so
I don't think that was a smart. I mean.
No.
Definitely not a smart move on her part. She should know better than to say that to Hap. I mean, I think she can say, I think the mole is Wick. I think she can be honest with him about what she thinks is going on. But she should know that Hap's family comes first before her. And that was not good. And Hap's like, what did he say? I already have one ex-wife here. If you mention throwing any of my kids under the bus again, you'll be the second. Whoa! I don't need him to say that again.
Yeah. Crystal clear. Got it. Let's talk about how AJ, first of all, he has it out for Wick. We don't see much of him, but he educates Annie on what her son's been up to, and then Annie calls her out right away, right there. Yeah. In front of basically not too privately either, but she finds out that Wick is the mole, and it's like,
pretty much tells me he's being a dumbass.
He is.
Oh, sweet little boy, what are you doing? Sort of thing.
I was proud of Wick, standing up to his mom, kind of just like, you know what? He did me wrong. This is revenge. Sorry, Mom.
Right. But Wick's got to know that he's going to have no friends and no family after this.
Yeah. His sister, forget it.
He's just going to be crying all the time.
Yeah, even his jump off is calling it quits over there. So the commissioner and Carla have a very heated scene, and it's in the master bedroom, and of course the crystal clear audio is going to the FBI.
And here's the thing, Carla. I mean, she's like, the mole is at the party. Don't underestimate the FBI. And then she has a conversation out loud like that. Like, I'm sorry, if you're the one who's so certain the mole is at the party, and don't be too careful. Like, you can't be any more careful than you're already being. Like, don't have this conversation and totally incriminate yourself. Like, save it, write it down, and just be like, look, what do you think about that message I just wrote? Tear it up, burn it, sort of thing.
And her chat with the commissioner was pretty on the nose too.
Yeah,
it was like, no one can know that we got the report before anybody else, and that we are all involved and implicated. It was
and you sold it to me. Go change it. Are you asking me to falsify records? That's a felony. Yes, I am. And my name is Carla Briggs. The date is
exactly. It was pretty on the nose, but when you're trying to wrap a series, I guess they're just gonna keep it moving.
Exactly. They're just like, you know what, just let it all out.
I was actually Carla got on my nerves a little bit this episode because she started just getting a little I don't know. I liked how she
got messy.
She got a little messy, and she's been so calculated all the time before that it was a little frustrating to see, and I'm bummed that she ended up taking the fall for it. I think it was she was setting herself up to take the fall for it for sure, and the things that she said, you're like, ooh, shoot, this is gonna bite her in the butt, sort of thing. But I didn't want her to go down for it,
Yeah.
I know. Me neither, but I appreciated her being a little bit messy this episode. Like, she wasn't so, I'm a little robot type of thing. It was I'm letting it all hang out. It's getting tough.
You know what it is?
From the company.
She started getting nervous. She felt the heat.
Yeah, she took control in this episode. That was it. Where she's kind of pulling strings, but from the side, I think. And now this time she's like, look, get Lacey involved in this, and we're good. But came back to bite her in the ass.
I know, so bad.
And they made her go through the front door.
I know. I know, which I get. They're wanting to, make an example of the Briggs family, but that's probably not a smart move.
For my revenge people who watch Revenge, I just wanted one of those Victoria Grayson moments where the wind machine is there, and Victoria just walks out head held high, nothing's happening here, with her hands behind her back.
She was very poised. She didn't say a word. She was just walked out. Looked amazing.
Yeah, she did. I wanted a little bit more though from it. I want more soap, more more over the top. That's what I just went way more over the top. But yes, she didn't let them, hurt her.
I don't think that'll be the end, though.
No.
With this situation or with her.
I hope not.
No.
Yeah, Carla's smart. She knows. She probably has a backup plan just in case she did get arrested.
Right.
She's
Seriously.
ready.
Well, on that note, let's transition to predictions since we're already kind of headed that way.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
So it looks like Carla's in the clink.
Yeah.
And who's she talking to in that promo? She was talking with
I think it was the agent. Was it the agent?
the commissioner or the... I think it was
I think it was like the FBI agent.
Okay.
I thought it was a female, but I'm not sure. I thought she was talking to another female.
I do not recall.
Well, she's in the jail.
Oh, yeah. No, I think she's going
I know
to
that much.
figure out a way to get herself out of that situation, or at least make it less terrible for herself.
Yeah.
You know, either by throwing the kids under the bus or Hap even in some way. I don't know, because Hap's the one they want more.
Yeah. Well, she has to like make bail though, and he's got all the money. So
Right.
so
That's true.
You know, she's gotta be careful with whose face she steps on.
Unless she's
to
like,
get
I
out of
can
there.
get you Hap, you know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
You know, that probably, that would be an FBI move. They would be like, all right, look, we'll give you immunity if you can get us our kingpin,
Right, right.
perhaps. But, I mean, she was pretty guilty on that audio, thing too. I mean, she's very much implicated. So, but they, they still don't have the main guy there. So, do we predict that Billy will slide in and take over Briggs Oil when the Briggs go to prison? Is that where this is going?
I don't think so. I don't.
I mean, where are we going with this show?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm just thinking of like a very neat little ending. To me, that would be something that would be like, let's swap these two. You know what I mean? These guys go, the bad people go away, the good people take over. That's just kind of where I'm seeing it going. I don't know. I know nothing.
I kind of see Lacey stepping up a little
Yeah.
bit. I think she would be the one that nobody really thinks would step up and take it because she didn't really want to be a part of the company, to begin with.
Right.
I think she's going to step up. I also think Wick, they're going to still get Wick somehow because Hap, as we can see, Hap already knows Wick is really the mole. So somehow Hap is going to get his lawyers in there. Wick's going to get arrested. Hap's still going to go down. Lacey's going to come up with the company.
Yeah, I can see that happening for sure. Yeah.
I still think Annie has a large part to play with how things are
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I forgot
Yeah,
about
and
Annie.
we see as Carla's being let out, she sneaks her arm right into Hap's arm. I feel like we're going to see something there. And I think deep down Annie does still definitely have some sort of little, a torch for Hap. But I think she's very much motivated by revenge at this point. And I could see her figuring out some way to weasel her way back into that situation. Not necessarily like getting back with Hap or anything like that, but from a business standpoint, doing something.
She's playing a win, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, is Jules dead?
No. It's a scare.
I think at this point, when there's 2 episodes left, just,
Kill him off?
I mean, what are we going to do?
No, I don't think
there's
she's
so much
dead. I
story
think
to
that's
wrap
too
up.
dark for this show. She's too much of a main character and too likable. I mean, you like her enough to not want to see her die. Unlike
right,
Gary,
true.
good lord, he stayed on for 6 episodes too long.
I just don't know what they can do at this point with Jules. I mean, of course, this is a show that is not canceled. They said in the promo that it's the season finale, not the series finale. But we can surmise where things are going. But, as far as the network is concerned, the show is not canceled. I mean, I think it's, when you cut episodes, it's like we can all read between the lines. So I don't know. Maybe if they're gonna bring it back, quote unquote, you continue to use her, and maybe that's why she realized. But if we have 2 episodes left, why bother?
Exactly.
Yeah, but I don't think the audience wants to see her dead. And obviously, characters don't only die when you want to see them dead. But I think that, yes, she did a slimy thing, and she also got screwed over herself. But I don't think... I don't know. I don't see this show doing that sort of thing. It's not that type of show to kill off the character like that, I don't think.
But what do we do with her, though? Where do we go with that character? She's on the outs.
She's just a little... it was just a little scare. I think what they're going to do with her probably is use her to still try to get back with Wick. I think that's going to be like her little main character now. She's going to be that person, that girlfriend, like, I want my boyfriend back. I'll do this for him. I'll do that for him. So they'll probably build like a little storyline around that, like trying to get back with the family on the good side.
And then also we've got Carla going to jail and Cody just being annoying as everything.
She's upset
so we've
next
got
week,
and if Jules dies, then we really just, the female parts are really just kind of getting slashed here and there. So I feel like we need to keep that like strong woman presence too. Girl power.
Yeah, I mean, even Lacey's like, she's got like maybe like what 5-10 lines an episode.
Lacey wasn't in there that much.
Yeah,
not tonight.
Well, we shall see, and we will be keeping up with what's going on in the upcoming episodes, and we hope that you'll join us for future recaps here at AFTERBUZZ TV. Where can we find you guys online?
You guys can find me everywhere: Twitter, Snapchat, YouTube, Instagram, at Lauren Salaun. That's LaurenSalaun.
Yay. And you can find me, Howard III, on Instagram and Twitter at Howard III. That's Howard3RD. And of course, my website, howard3rd.com.
And you guys can find me over on Twitter at Grants__rants. And please check out my podcast, Grant's Rants Hollywood Talk. You can find that on iTunes and Stitcher. We just did a Thanksgiving episode. It's pretty good. Check it out. We'll be back with more of Blood and Oil as we wrap out this season here on AFTERBUZZ TV.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AFTERBUZZ TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AFTERBUZZ TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzzz TV or its owners or principals.